Hello and welcome back to another Star Citizen video. Oh boy, we have an interesting thing that we have received a very interesting reveal, and that is the RSI Perseus. Oh boy, now this is interesting because I did say a little bit on if RSI Perseus were to make it for IAE, most likely it's going to be like a flyby and whatnot. But looking at this, if they reveal that early, are they gearing up for a flight ready Perseus like the Polaris and the Idris? Oh boy, I think it's most likely like the not saying the recent two ships, right? The Polaris and the Idris that was introduced and straight away say flight ready. All right, here you go. Now you see it. Now you can play with it, and the price is gonna go up. $675 for this guy over here. This bad boy. It's a nice ship. All right, I'm gonna talk a little bit. So we're gonna jump in straight away, and we're gonna start with the number one PSA. You do not need to buy any of this ship with real money. What's better than that is you can fly most, if not all, the available ships that are flight ready. That's right. However, I'm going to put a pin on two ships, namely the Polaris and the Idris. I know the Polaris most likely is you can rent it, but the Idris, how are you going to rent that ship? Are they going to allow people to rent the Idris and play? If the answer is yes, oh boy, the server is going to be spicy, especially for those who's going to rent the Idris M variant. But most likely it's not going to be the M variant. It's most likely going to be the Peacekeeper variant, the no weapon, the no main gun variant. If they have torpedoes, oh, even nicer. All right. Okay, so that's one. And of course, it is free to play during the event, all right, which is from November 20th to December 3rd. That is fantastic. All right, so keep an eye out for some of the ships that you want to fly, and let's go straight to the schedule. And oh boy, look at that. We are starting out with RSI, which is the brand that's built the Perseus. Yeah, cool. So first day, or rather, we are kicking things off with the RSI, followed by Origin Jump Works, followed by Drake Interplanetary. Okay, interesting. And then we have the Alien brand plus Grey Markets. Grey's Market. And then, of course, the next we have Kruger, Mirai, MISC, followed by, and then Envil Aerospace, then Argo Astronautic, Consolidated Outland, Grey Cat, then Crusader, Tumbril, and then last is Aegis Dynamics. Now the question is, out of all the brands here, RSI has been putting out some big ships as of late, which is nice. Envil Aerospace, we don't really have a air quote capital ship yet from them. But we do have a new ship, right, which is the Paladin from Envil Aerospace, so I don't expect anything to drop, especially for Envil. But for Aegis also doesn't really have some new ships, but they have some ships in the pipeline that it is technically not ready yet. Let me double check. Only the Javelin? There's one or two smaller ships. Okay. So, interesting. But my guess is most likely you will get RSO. So we have the Perseus flight ready. And then I think you might get a starter ship. If we get a starter ship for IAE 2955, that is the best time to jump in because you get lifetime insurance. And for me, lifetime insurance is a big deal. I like it. I want it, and it serves as a bottleneck requirement. If not, I will be buying every single ship. Right? Internet spaceship addiction. No, we need an like alcohol, like AA, right? So we got Alcoholic Anonymous. So we need one for internet spaceship addiction. Oh boy. So anyway, it's a little bit sidetracked. So that's that, and we have the best in show. Now the best in show is for the 4 ships that made it to the Elite 4, and that is from the Ship Showdown 2955, right? These are the 4 ships. Of course, we have the Polaris up there. I'm not going to show you just yet. We have the Anvil Asgard. Oh yeah, and Anvil actually released quite a few ships this year in a way. RSI Zeus. Oh no. If they're gonna show up RSI Perseus, most likely the Marquis, not Marquis, Mark, yeah, MQ. The MQ is not gonna be released. But I'll be surprised if they do so. And then we have the Gladiator, and of course, last but not least, the Polaris. And this is the best time for you, especially for those with a huge hangar space. You might be able to melt some ships, rebuild a little bit, and you will get a free skin if one of those ships, or rather if any of these ships are these 4 ships. Unfortunately, the Polaris is way too expensive, so you cannot collect everything. You most likely can collect this 3. This 2 is relatively cheap-ish. The Asgard is a little bit pricey. Yeah, so this is definitely not beginner / low spender friendly, and I will say this straight. Even so, even you might be able to get free skin, please do not buy them with not say real money. Do not buy them with their sticker price, and please, right, fund CIG or buy ships with an informed decision. There's no reason to FOMO in, because every ship is purchasable in game. I have to keep telling a lot of people this. I need to also remind everyone that watches this video. So that's that. And then last but not least, we have the finale. Now, the most important thing for IAE 2955 is none of the new ships, none of the brand. However, I'm looking forward to the daily Warbond deals. That's right, because that is the key process on how I get cheap ships with lifetime insurance. Most of my fleet, if not all my fleets, except for my starter ships. Unfortunately, starter ships, yeah, I can't beat the cheap pack, right? So like $40.50, that's the cheapest starter pack that you can get. Of course, if you back Star Citizen way back, it is even more cheaper. So to me, that's not saying no brainer. I like to keep them as a memento, because of that's when I started, right? I still kept my first ship package. However, with some careful planning and of course ship limitation thingy, you can get your entire fleet with lifetime insurance cheaper than the sticker price. That's how I built my fleet. And guess what? We're gonna do a little bit different this year. Because every year during IAE, I will build the Karak as cheaply as I can. But this year we're gonna add on with the RSI Perseus, and then I will try to chain every single day as best as I can to the RSI Perseus. If I'm not mistaken, you can chain almost everything, because the RSI Perseus is $675. Actually, you know what? The Karak is also that expensive. So there we go. We're gonna build a ship live. Well, not live, but recorded. Yeah, it's live in a way. Okay. That would be the extra thing that I want to do this year for you guys, and at the same time, yeah, celebrate if I get to hit 1,000 subscribers. Okay, that's the main PSA for the IAE 2955. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the RSI Perseus, because this ship is interesting. Very, very, very interesting. So we're going to kickstart I would say the soft discussion, because there are some things that the developer did say a little bit on the RSI Perseus. But what I want to do is I want to get an official air quote, because everything is subject to change, because things has changed from their from their concept sale. And I'm gonna say straight up, the ship general design is still there. If you look at it, if you were to compare, unfortunately I can't pause this, but you can see it's very, very identical in terms of ship profile and whatnot. But there are some things that change as well. For example, if you look at the concept sail, the panels are much more sleeker, and actually that's the main reason why I wanted the Perseus. It feels very sleek, like a naval ship, like a modern naval ship, and that's that. And of course, if you were compared to fighter jets as well, more modernized fighter jets are very sleek, and of course they have their own they have their reason why it's sleek and angular. But for internet spaceship doesn't really matter. But look at that, oh, it's so nice, right? And unfortunately they changed a little bit due to the design language for the RSI military side, especially with the Polaris. Yeah, you can see some of the no, that's the Polaris straight up. Come on, Perseus, show up. You can see some of the design language they have been added on to the Perseus, and then of course we have a different gun as well. Because if you were to look, or if we were to take a look at the man turret, it's a little bit different. Just a little bit, right? Obviously, the first thing you spotted is there's extra 2 guns. They are size 3, and the main gun used to be size 7, so now it's up gun. It is size 8, and that is a oof. The size 8 really makes something makes a lot of people want this ship in a way. I'm gonna tell you how I'm gonna use this ship if I were to get it. Okay, straight up. It's going to be very simple, right? And most of you will probably tell me it is very inefficient, and I will agree it is very inefficient. I'm going to fly this ship solo, straight up. Okay, so let's see. Manual turrets, that doesn't matter, already went to size 8. Remote turrets, yeah, we have seen some already, which is nice. Torpedoes, yes, it is size 5. Not so sure if they changed to upsize again or not. But size 5, I think it's okay. This is not a torpedo ship. This is just an extra ordnance. And you can carry up to 20, which is cool. Question is how you're going to reload. Is it a manual reload or not? It doesn't really matter, right? Because this is mainly a gunship. Or I would call it ship of the line? Ship? How do I put it this way? Torpedo ships. Okay, so I'm going to just add on a little bit, right? Torpedo ships are like submarine. You go in, you shoot out your torpedoes, and then you GTFO. In general, you're not gonna stay in the fight for long. Whereas the Perseus is more like a frontline barrage. No, the Perseus is more closer, in my opinion, to a support, frontline support. How do I put it this way? If you're going to go capital ship versus capital ship, then the Perseus is technically front line. But the front of the line is the hammerhead in general, because that's where you want to control the battlefield. Yeah, it is front of the line, right? At the end, it's the same, because you want to take the Perseus and smack down the ships like the Polaris, the Idris, and the Hammerhead, especially the Hammerheads, okay? Once you take down the Hammerheads, then you can send in your swarm of bombers, and that's where you can take down the Idris, take down the Polaris. The Polaris can join in the fun as well. All right, there we go. There we go. Okay, so that's that. And next up, we're going to see the interior. Okay, so we have a cargo bay. Looking at the cargo bay, we can fit up to an Ursa. We can fit up to a rover. Yeah, it's Ursa rover, it's the same. What am I talking about? Which is nice. All right, so now because you can carry a vehicle immediately, this ship is viable for group play straight up, because you can carry an Ursa Medivac and immediately it opens up a lot more, I would say, play style, purpose, utility. And because you can fit an Ursa, you definitely can squeeze in a Fury or 2. I'm gonna guarantee you lots of people would try to do that. They would try to see what ships they can squeeze in. That is a normal thing, okay? And looking at the cargo space, if let's say the whole entire cargo floor goes down, all right, and I would say, yeah, this feels I can fit at least, I mean, definitely I can fit in a Fury, but I feel you can squeeze in one more. it feels, right? It feels you can squeeze in one more. Okay, so that's that. Cargo bay. Next up, not docking collar. Then we have the gun deck, nice, right? Torpedo bay. So if it looks like you might need to do some manual loading, which I think you should do, right? When it comes to torpedoes, predominantly torpedoes. If it's missile, it can go auto load. For torpedoes, I expect, yeah, manual loading. Manual. It has to be manual loading. But then again, that is only for the Polaris. Size 5 torpedoes, not really. No, you know what? I would say yes, for the sake of the lore slash roleplay. I will put it that way. Okay, then crew quarters at the back, captain quarter at the back, nice. And then we go to bridge deck, which is very, very simple. Engineering, escape pods, bridge. Now do note this is the concept sail version. I am keen to see how much it will change on the main release, because I can guarantee you most likely this numbers is outdated already. Okay, really, really outdated. But I do hope that the cargo goes up rather than goes down. But because the cargo goes up, most likely the size will go bigger, and crew size might be a little bit bigger. But I think you don't really need that big of a crew size, alright? One pilot slash captain, one gunner for either for the front turret or the bottom turret. And of course, if you don't want to man the turret, you can go for remote turret. So co-pilot, pilot and co-pilot, 2-person, and then one more person for engineering. I'm sure big ships like this requires engineering gameplay built in. If not, this ship is gonna be boring. This ship is gonna be, I would say, abused by solo pilots or solo players out there, and doesn't give a purpose on why you should have a multi-crew. Actually, the guns itself just explain everything. All right, you need a crew. You want to fly around and pound people with with 2 twin size 8 turret, and at the same time, because of the new reveal, and obviously I know the developer did say a little bit, yeah, your turret has 2 size 3 Gatling at the moment. Looks like Gatling Revenant. Like I said, it should not say it should. This is the part where I can safely say for now, most likely the main turret for the Perseus is bespoke, but the 2 size 3 on top of the turret should be interchangeable. And that's the reason why I'm not bothered about the gun instead. I'm not worried about the gun, I'm worried about the size of the mount. That's that. Alright. So yeah, that is cool. Look at that, sleek and nice. All right, and of course we have our brochure. So for those who, I won't say joined Citizen recently, but for those who have joined recently, we used to have brochures, which is cool. Now we do have now we only have like stat sheets, which is a little bit boring, right? A little bit boring. All right, Warbomb pledges come with lifetime insurance. This is a long time ago, long time ago. So with that, a little talk about Perseus. What I will do now is, for a closure, how I'm gonna play it if I were to own it, and we want to guess how much would it cost. Most of you most likely probably will say, probably I would say it as well, $750. Same price as, no, 756, all right, so it's 675. Yeah, 750. 750 in line with the Hammerhead. Straight up, all right. If it goes more than 750, ooh, interesting. It's gonna be interesting. But more importantly, I want to know the not say the final stats, but the stats that will be the stats that they come up with for IAE release. And do note everything is subject to change. So I won't say that things will not change when they release, but definitely things will change. Also, we have PDTs. Right, we have personal defense point or personal defense turret, which is interesting, right? And we have already seen some few extra addition already on the Perseus, so crew size might go up. I have a feeling if the crew size, they probably want to punch in around 1 to 8. Yeah. Okay, so for me, how I'm going to use the Perseus, very straightforward. I'm just going to park outside the our effective range, and I'm just gonna use it as a sniper, right? A sniping ship, right? Just stay somewhere in the back line and just lay down the fire. And of course, the problem is we do not know what's the range of the size 8 weapon turret. Can it be interchangeable, or is it stuck? Because I would like it to be at least a little bit more interchangeable. It can be bespoke, but at least bespoke with some options, like only you can, one of the main reason is I want it to have 2 variants, 3 if you were to put it this way, but 2, a long range variant and a close range brawler. That makes the Perseus a very, very versatile ship when it comes to capital ship hunting. If a Perseus starts, rushing towards your face, especially towards an Idris, I want to see some size 8 scattergun variant, right? Just blast in front of your face, and that'll be cool, right? And of course, there should be a long range variant. That's very, very normal. And of course, if I were to buy the Perseus, most likely it's going to be just for PvE fun, right? And that's about it. That's about it. I'm definitely going to fly this solo, alright? I will attempt to fly this solo if I were to get one. Anyway, that's all I have for you for today. Alright, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button and help this channel grow. I do want to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, but that is if I earn it. For that, I will see you in the verse, and fly safe. Whew. Whew. You know what? For those who are gonna blame me on the comments, flying solo, it's gonna be very, 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 very inefficient, but I don't care.